They laughed first. They didn't just laugh at her. They recorded it. They didn't just humiliate him. They made it public. And years later, those same people would beg for mercy they never gave. This isn't a glow-up story. This is how revenge learns to smile. Before we get to the beauty, before the power, before the love that complicates everything, you need to understand what they survived, because nobody becomes dangerous for no reason. The humiliation. High school hallway morning. Lockers slammed shut like gunfire. Laughter echoed too loud for such a narrow hallway. Amara Kinsley kept her eyes down, not because she was shy, but because eye contact always invited cruelty. Someone whispered, "Why does she walk like that?" Another voice snickered, "Don't ask, you'll catch it." Phone camera click. She felt it, that hot, crawling sensation on her skin, being watched, being judged, being turned into entertainment. Shift, classroom. The teacher droned on. Nobody listened. A folded note landed on Amara's desk. She didn't open it. She already knew. When the bell rang, the note was opened for her. Laughter exploded. Written in thick marker, "Mirror broken or just born wrong?" Silence. Amara didn't cry. She wrote something instead. A name, a date, a sentence. Because some people scream, others document. Auditorium, school assembly. Cale Rowan stood on stage, hands shaking. He wasn't meant to speak. He volunteered. That was mistake number one. He scanned the crowd until he found her. Nyx Calder. Perfect hair, perfect smile, perfect cruelty. He swallowed. Cale, voice cracking, "I just wanted to say, I really admire you." The room inhaled. Then it happened. Laughter. Not nervous laughter. Enjoying this too much laughter. Someone shouted, "Bro thought he had a chance." Another voice, "Sit down, creep." Phones up. Recording. Nyx didn't say a word. She smiled. That smile ruined him more than words ever could. Silence is loud. Empty stairwell, lunchtime. Amara ate alone. Cale stopped eating altogether. They never spoke back then. Pain doesn't always introduce itself. Teachers saw everything. They said nothing. Because silence is easier than justice. The decision. Night, Amara's room. A cracked mirror. A dim bulb. A notebook filled with names. Amara stared at herself. Not with hatred, with calculation. Cale, night bus stop. Cale watched his reflection in dark glass. People passed him like he didn't exist. That night, he deleted something. Not his social media, his innocence. Time skip. Years later, flash cuts. Gym lights flickering, books on psychology and finance, jaw lines sharpening, confidence replacing apology, silence turning into strategy. The reunion. Elite event, night. Champagne glasses clinked, music hummed low and expensive. Nyx Calder stepped inside. She stopped walking, because standing near the window was a woman she didn't recognize at first. Elegant, calm, watching everyone like she already owned the ending. Their eyes met. Amara smiled. Not warmly, knowingly. Nyx's stomach dropped. Because some smiles don't forgive. They remember. Nyx would soon realize something terrifying. The girl she broke didn't come back for closure. She came back to finish the story. But wait. What Nyx didn't know yet was that Amara wasn't alone. And Cale? Cale had his own plan. When the tables turn. Power shift and first strike. They laughed first. They filmed first. They humiliated first. But tonight, the room belongs to someone else. You already know what they survived. What you don't know yet is how carefully this moment was planned. Because revenge doesn't rush. It waits until the audience is perfect. The room changes. FX, low jazz music, glasses clinking. The venue smelled like money and restraint. Soft lights, quiet laughter. Nix Calder adjusted her posture as she scanned the room. She had entered spaces like this her whole life. But something felt wrong. Not threatening, unfamiliar. Then she saw her again, the woman by the window. Still watching, still calm, still smiling like she knew something no one else did. FX. Music fades slightly. Nix frowned. She should have recognized her, and that scared her. Because confidence doesn't need permission. Amara moves first. Amara stepped away from the window. Every step was measured, every breath controlled. She didn't rush. People like Nix noticed power shifts the way animals sensed storms. A waiter passed. Amara grabbed a glass. Not to drink, to be seen. FX. Glass gently placed on table. Nix's eyes followed her. Recognition flickered, then vanished. Then panic replaced it. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy change? That's power before a single word is spoken. The name drop. Amara stopped beside a small group. Voices hushed. Someone asked, "And you are?" She smiled. Amara Kinsley. Silence. Nix froze. That name. That crawled up from the past like a ghost refusing to stay buried. Nix laughed too quickly. "Oh, from school." Amara nodded. "Yes." Just that. No accusation, no bitterness, which somehow made it worse. Kale enters. The other half. FX. Footsteps approaching. Nix turned and saw him. Tall, composed, unrecognizable. Kale Rowan. But she didn't know that yet. He extended his hand. "Kale," he said. "Pleasure." Nix hesitated. Something about his eyes. They weren't asking to be liked. They were measuring. She shook his hand anyway, and felt something tighten in her chest. The first strike. Subtle, devastating. A man approached Nix, whispered something urgently. Her smile cracked. She checked her phone. Unread messages, missed calls, one headline notification. Influencer Nix Calder linked to academic misconduct scandal. Her breath caught. She looked up, straight at Amara. Amara lifted her glass and drank. Is this revenge or accountability arriving late? Tell me what you think. No celebration. Amara didn't smile wider. Kale didn't gloat, because this wasn't the win. It was the invitation. Nix stared at them both, finally asked the question she should have asked years ago. Why? Amara leaned closer. You don't remember us, she said. And that's the point. Love enters the war. Later that night, Kale asked quietly, how far are you willing to go? Amara didn't answer immediately. Because revenge was simple. Love was harder. Because not everyone survives becoming who they needed to be. The cost of becoming. When love complicates revenge. Revenge is easy when you're alone. Love is harder. Because love doesn't ask what you deserve. It asks what you're willing to lose. Recap with a twist. Nix had fallen. Not completely, but enough to feel it. The scandal was everywhere. Her smile was gone. And Amara felt nothing. That scared her more than guilt ever could. The aftermath. FX. City night ambiance, distant traffic. Amara stood by the window of her apartment. Lights blinked below like silent witnesses. Tail leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Neither spoke. Finally, Kale broke the silence. "She didn't see it coming," he said. Amara nodded. That was the point. Kale studied her face, not for beauty, for cracks. What happens when revenge works, but healing doesn't follow? That's where this story turns. Kale remembered the stage, the laughter, the phones. He had dreamed of moments like this. Justice, balance. But now that it was happening, he felt hollow. "You okay?" Amara asked. He hesitated. "That's the problem," he said. "I don't know." For the first time, revenge didn't feel powerful. It felt permanent. Have you ever gotten what you wanted and realized it didn't fix you? You're not alone. Nyx strikes back, imperfectly. Shh. Phone buzzing repeatedly. Nyx sat alone in her apartment. No makeup, no audience, just headlines and silence. She scrolled, then stopped. Amara's name, Kale's name, connected, together. Nyx smiled, thin, desperate. "So, that's how," she whispered. She started typing, not an apology, a narrative. Because when people lose power, they weaponize sympathy. Love becomes a liability. The post went live, vague, emotional. "I was bullied too. People don't know the full story. Some people never heal." Shh. Notification storm. Comments poured in. Confusion replaced certainty. Kale watched the screen. "This wasn't part of the plan," he said. Amara didn't answer. Plans don't survive emotions. The argument. "You said this was about closure," Kale said. "It is," Amara replied. "No," he said quietly. "This is about control." The word hung between them, sharp, dangerous. Amara turned. Her voice dropped. "They controlled us first." "And now?" Kale asked. "Who are we becoming?" Silence, because she didn't know the answer. Is revenge still justified when it starts changing who you are? Tell me you think that. The line is crossed. Nyx posted again, this time with names, accusations, screenshots edited just enough. Kale's past resurfaced, the assembly clip re-uploaded, reframed. Trauma doesn't disappear. It waits for the internet. Kale shut his phone off. Amara stared at hers. Her hands were shaking. A choice. Kale looked at Amara. "If we keep going," he said, "we won't recognize ourselves." Amara looked back, eyes steady. Then she said the words that changed everything. "Then don't look away." The public collapse, when secrets become spectacle. The internet doesn't care who started it. It only cares who bleeds best in public. And tonight, everyone is watching. Recap with escalation. Nyx had named them. Kale's past was trending. Amara's silence was being misinterpreted. And silence, online, sounds like guilt. The viral turn. Shh. Rapid notification pings, overlapping. The clip was everywhere, not the whole truth, just the worst moment. Kale, on stage, shaking, frozen forever in humiliation. Comment sections filled faster than facts. Why is he pretending to be a victim now? Glow-up bullies are still bullies. Power changes people. Kale stared at the screen. This time, no one laughed out loud. They judged quietly. Which hurt more? Kale breaks. Shh. Room tone, heavy silence. Kale sat on the edge of the bed, phone face down, hands clenched. "I can't do this again," he said. Amara stood nearby, watching, listening, not interrupting. "They're laughing without laughing," he continued. "That's worse." Amara's jaw tightened. They didn't care before. Why should we now? Kale looked up, eyes sharp. "Because I care." That was the moment. The first crack. Have you ever been strong for so long that breaking felt like failure? Tell me you felt that. Nyx controls the narrative. Shh. Keyboard typing, soft but frantic. Nyx went live, not polished, not perfect. Tears, real or rehearsed. "I never meant to hurt anyone," she said. "I was young too." Comments flooded in. "Thank you for being brave. We all make mistakes. Healing isn't linear." Nyx wiped her face, but her eyes stayed focused, strategic. Because apology isn't about regret, it's about timing. Amara's dilemma. Amara watched the lodge stream. She didn't blink. Kale turned away. "You could end this," he said. "Say your side." Amara shook her head. "They won't hear it," she replied. They never did. She closed the app. For the first time since this began, she felt tired. Not weak. Tired. If telling the truth makes things worse, would you still tell it? The second strike. Unexpected. A message arrived, private, unmarked. Shh. Single notification. Amara opened it. Her breath stopped. Screenshots. Old group chats. Nyx's voice. Cruel. Laughing. Explicit. Dates. Names. Victims. Proof. Not just against them, against many. Kale looked over her shoulder. This changes everything. Amara didn't smile, because now the damage would be irreversible. The choice nobody wins. If we release this, Kale said, we become what they say we are. Amara stared at the screen. If we don't, she replied, they get away with it again. Justice or mercy, exposure or silence, revenge or restraint. Her finger hovered. Point of no return. Amara exhaled, pressed send. Across the city, Nyx's phone buzzed, her face drained of color. Because some apologies work, until evidence speaks louder. When the truth goes viral, the moment control is lost. The truth doesn't knock. It crashes through the door and asks who's strong enough to survive it. Tonight, everyone is not safe. Recap with momentum. Amara pressed send. The screenshots escaped containment, and the internet did what it always does best. It chose violence. The explosion. Shh. Notification storm, layered, escalating. The files spread faster than apologies. Group chats, voice notes, laughing at names that didn't laugh back. Victims started recognizing themselves, then speaking, then shouting. Nyx's name shot to the top of every feed, not trending, condemned. Nyx unraveled. Shh. Apartment silence. Distant sirens. Nyx paced. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Brand deals canceled. Friends disappeared. Comments turned sharp. You destroyed lives. Say their names. You're not sorry. She tried to go live. The platform blocked it. For the first time in her life, she had no audience. Nyx slid down the wall, crying now, real time, because power is loud when it exists, and devastating when it leaves. Is public accountability justice, or punishment dressed as truth? What do you think? Heroes or villains? Amara and Kale didn't celebrate. They watched, in silence. Comments were shifting again. Why did they wait so long? They planned this. Revenge isn't healing. Kale exhaled. They're turning on us. Amara nodded. I expected that. Because the internet loves a rise, but worships a fall. Even righteous ones. The cost to love. Kale's phone buzzed. A message from his employer. HR would like to talk. I was cruel, Nyx said. No excuses, no stories, just that. I thought it made me powerful. Kale's jaw tightened. Amara stayed still. Nyx continued. I don't expect forgiveness. But I need you to know. I remember now. That sentence hit harder than any insult ever had, because remembering meant the pain was always optional. Amara's truth. Amara finally spoke. Her voice didn't shake. You laughed at me, she said. Then you forgot. I built my life around not being invisible again. Nyx nodded. I see that. Amara leaned forward. No, she said quietly. You see the consequences. Silence fell. Heavy, necessary. Kale broke the stillness. Kale stood up. I don't want your ecology, he said. I wanted you to feel powerless. Nyx looked at him. I do, she whispered. Kale laughed once. Sharp. Good. And then his shoulders slumped, because satisfaction doesn't last. Relief doesn't follow. Only emptiness. The offer. Nyx took a breath. I'm stepping away from everything, she said. No platforms, no brand deals. I'll speak when asked and stay silent when told. She looked at Amara. I can't undo what I did. But I won't fight the truth anymore. Amara listened, carefully, because this wasn't surrender. It was exposure without resistance. Forgiveness is not what they think. Amara stood. I'm not forgiving you, she said. Nyx flinched. But I'm done letting you define me. Kale exhaled. That was it. Not forgiveness. Freedom. The aftershock. Outside, Kale asked the question he'd been holding back. Do you feel better? Amara thought for a long moment. No, she said, but I feel finished. And sometimes that's stronger than happy. After the noise, reckoning, reputation, and the weight of moving on. Quiet power. The loudest moments are never the ones that last. It's what comes after the noise that decides who you become. Recap with emotional shift. The truth had gone viral. The conversation had ended. Nyx disappeared from the spotlight. Not erased, just removed. And Amara and Kale? They were left with something far heavier than revenge. They were left with meaning. The morning after. Sunlight crept into Amara's apartment. For the first time in years, she woke up without checking her phone. No alerts, no anger, just quiet. Kale sat at the kitchen table, coffee untouched. They're still talking, he said. Amara nodded. They always will. Because stories don't end when victims heal. They end when the audience gets bored. What happens when the world wants more, but you're done bleeding? That's the real test. Public opinion splits. Commentary videos surfaced. Some praised them. Finally, accountability. They spoke for all of us. Others weren't kind. They planned this. They enjoyed it. Kale shut his laptop. No matter what we do, someone needs us to be villains. Amara looked at him. Let them, she said. We survived worse. That wasn't confidence. That was exhaustion turned into clarity. Identity without an enemy. Kale stared out the window. All this time, he said, I knew who I was because of what they did. And now? Amara asked. Kale hesitated. Now, I don't know who I am without the fight. Silence followed. Not uncomfortable, honest. Amara nodded slowly. Then we learn, she said. Love without a common enemy. That night, they walked together. No plan, no agenda, just movement. Kale stopped. Would we have found each other if none of this happened? Amara thought carefully. I don't know, she said, and that scares me. Because love built on survival has to learn how to live. Can love survive once the pain that bonded it is gone? Think about that. Nix's absence speaks. Weeks passed. Nix kept her word. No posts, no interviews, just absence. And strangely, that absence did more than any apology ever could. People moved on, as they always do, but the damage stayed. Not visible, internal. A different kind of power. Amara received a message from someone she didn't know. I saw myself in your story. Thank you for not staying silent. Amara closed her phone, exhaled. This wasn't revenge. This was impact. The future question. Kale asked quietly, so, what now? Amara smiled. Not sharply, not defensively, just real. Now, she said, we live loudly enough that our past can't keep up. But the world, though, the world hadn't said its final word. Choosing the ending, freedom, fear, and the power of decision. Revenge feels like power until you realize it still lets the past decide your future. Freedom begins the moment you choose differently. Recap with new question. The truth was out. The enemy was gone. But healing? Healing doesn't arrive with applause. It arrives with decisions no one prepares you for. The offer. Email notification, subtle. Kale stared at the screen. A production company, a docuseries proposal. Your story could help millions. Amara read it twice, then a third time. They want everything, she said quietly. The school, the humiliation, the names. Kale leaned back, and the pain. This wasn't revenge. This was exposure. Power versus peace. They argued. Not loudly, not angrily. The most dangerous kind. Calm. Kale paced. If we don't tell it, he said, someone else will, and they'll twist it. Amara stayed seated. Or, she replied, we don't let this become the only thing we're known for. Silence pressed in. Both were right. That's what made it hard. Mirrors of the past. Amara visited her old school, unannounced, unrecognized. The lockers were newer, the walls freshly painted. But the echo was the same. She stood in the hallway where laughter once followed her like a shadow, and for the first time, it didn't hurt. It didn't own her. That night, Amara spoke the truth she'd been avoiding. What if we let go and people forget us? Kale didn't answer immediately. Then, maybe that's the point. Fame keeps scars alive. Obscurity lets them heal. A quiet decision. The email sat unanswered. Hours turned into morning. Kale typed one sentence. then deleted it. Kale watched. "You don't owe them anything," he said. She nodded, and finally wrote, "Thank you for the opportunity, but this story belongs to us now." She hit send. The relief was instant. So was the fear. Building, not proving. Weeks later, something unexpected happened. They were invited, not to speak about trauma, but to build a mentorship program, anonymous, unbranded, helping students who felt unseen. No cameras, no applause, just presence. This wasn't revenge. This was legacy. The cost of peace. As they left one session, a reporter recognized them. "Do you regret not telling your story?" she asked. Amara paused, then smiled. "No," she said. "I regret believing pain had to be loud to be real." But as they walked away, a message buzzed on Kale's phone. Unknown number, one line. "You think this is over. When the past knocks back. Unfinished business, secrets, and consequences. The past doesn't wait. It doesn't knock politely. It barges in, uninvited, unforgiving. And tonight, it's at their door." Recalc with exclamation. Amara and Kale had chosen peace. They had refused the cameras. They had built a mentorship program, silent, safe, impactful. But the unknown message said otherwise. "You think this is over." A surprise visitor. FSFX, doorbell echoing, city street faint. Amara opened the door. A figure stood there. Not Nyx, not anyone they expected. A classmate, one they had overlooked in the past, someone still hurt, still angry. "I need to talk to you about everything that's still broken." Kale stepped beside Amara, eyes narrowing. "You shouldn't be here," he said. But words had no power now. The past had arrived.